everyone, and welcome to episode 7 of Reputation Rescue at Lazio with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. So I've been through the January transfer window. Unfortunately, we did in the end lose a player. Fortunately, it wasn't one of our better ones, which is very, very good. We managed to keep hold of all of the big guys in this particular team through the January transfer window. The only bid that I received on any of them was for Milinkovic-Savic, and we received a Liverpool bid of around 90 million, 60 million up front, plus a bit of add-ons and other bits and pieces, and we rejected it for a couple of reasons. One, I'm looking for a bid at least over 100 million if they're coming in for the likes of Milinkovic-Savic. And secondly, at the moment, you can see down in the bottom right hand corner here, we only receive 55% of the transfer revenue of any sale that is made to put back into the transfer fund. And if we're going to sell the likes of Milinkovic-Savic, which I'm sure we possibly will have to do at some point, then I want as much of that funds to come into the transfer kitty as possible. So it wasn't the right time to sell mid-season. If in the summer a club comes in with a huge bid, likes of Liverpool, PSG, whatever, and they unsettle him enough, then we might sell him. But I'm hoping that we would then get more of the money into our transfer kitty. So the deal didn't happen. He's a little bit unhappy just at the moment because of it, but he'll settle back down again once all the interest in him dies down a little bit. Or maybe he won't. Maybe that'll be the catalyst for him moving in the summer. But for now, he's with us. So is everybody else other than Parolo, who is the guy that was the replacement for Milinkovic-Savic. And in the end, we sold him for a couple of reasons, but primarily because he's getting old. In terms of footballing terms, in terms of football manager terms, he's 35. His physicals were on the wane a little bit. He's got some very good attributes, don't get me wrong at all. He was doing a perfectly okay job as the replacement for Milinkovic-Savic, but he's not quite of the standard that we need moving forward. And so we got him out of the club, for a small fee, for £550,000 plus a bit if things go our way. So he's out of the club. And in the end, I looked around. I tried to find a decent young replacement, like 18-year-old, to bring in and sit behind Milinkovic-Savic. But just in the January transfer window, there wasn't the quality there that I wanted for the price that we could pay. We didn't have a lot of money. We only had 8 million in the bank for spending on transfers. And so I think in the summer, we'll have to look at that particular position and see whether we can find a good up-and-coming youngster to sit in that rotation role, in the box-to-box midfielder role. So that's what we've done in the January transfer window. Nothing else happened. No other bids came in. I didn't go trying to sell any of my players at all. I wanted to keep them all because look at us. We're sitting in second place. We are 7 points currently behind Zebra at the top of the table. For those that are just joining us, Juventus in this particular save are Zebra because that's the vanilla version of the game for you this year because of copyright issues. And we've used it to our advantage because we're going hunting for zebras, basically. In the 3-season save, this is all we're going to be doing, 3 seasons. We're in the first season. I want to see if we can get Lazio to the top of the Serie A and put them back on top of Italian football and untopple Zebra at the top of the table. So that's the intention for the series, and we'll see how we get on. So the January transfer window is closed and the January fixture list has been and gone, and we did okay, to be honest. We played a friendly match after our Italian Super Cup final win over Zebra, which was a really good little bit of silverware to get. Not important particularly, but in terms of its prestige, but just important in terms of momentum and building the club. We then lost our friendly against Fiorentina just in that little bit of the winter break. Came back in and put that right against Cagliari though, which was good. And then lost to Parma in the Serie A for the first time we lost since we played Zebra right in the initial part of the season in September. We've gone on like a 19-match run or something it was. We broke the records, all that kind of stuff that comes out of Football Manager at times. But in the end, Parma was the one to untopple us, and they beat us 1-0. But we got straight back on it again, which was really encouraging. And along with a couple of wins in Serie A, plus a draw against Sampdoria, we also beat them in the Italian Cup first round and Parma in the quarter-final of the Italian Cup. So we are rightly deep in the competition now. Unfortunately, we get Milan, which is always going to be tricky, isn't it? But you'd expect that in the semi-final of the Italian Cup. So that's going to be coming up in the early part of February. But today we get the Milan rivals. We get Inter Milan. It's a tricky run of fixtures, isn't it? Inter, Zebra, and then Milan, all in a row in different competitions. But that's the way we're going to have to go. That's the fixture list, so we get on with it. So today is Inter Milan in Serie A, and they are currently sitting in 5th. Not quite as high up as you might think. Maybe you'd think they would be challenging with us to try and topple Zebra, but not quite at the moment. They're just a little bit off the pace. And then, of course, later in the month of February, we go in for our Euro Cup first knockout phase. So after we play Inter Milan today, next episode we'll be coming back and playing that second leg of the Euro Cup game, just to see if we can get through on that. And then I'll fill you in on what's happening with the Milan game as well in terms of our Italian Cup. So plenty of competitions coming up, plenty of interest coming up. But today it's all about getting back into Serie A after being in the cup competition last game and playing Inter Milan. So we'll just go check the competition page and we will see that we sit in second, as I say, on 45 points after 21 games, which is fairly decent. Very happy with that. And we've got a couple of clubs directly behind us that are quite close to us. Fiorentina and Roma, our local rivals, so that's a bit tricky. But the two Milan clubs are a little bit off the pace, which is quite interesting to see. Is that what you would expect from this season? Is that where you see them placed in terms of in real terms in Italian football at the moment? I'm not an expert on Italian football particularly, so I would have expected both of them to be doing slightly better than they are. Would you expect that too? Let me know. If you've got experience of this, let me know in the comments below. But we are doing exceptionally well for where I thought we would be this season. Anywhere in that top 5 I would have happily taken, but currently we sit second and that's good. Got to find a way to close that gap a little bit if possible against Zebra, but we do play them coming up fairly soon as well, so that might give us an opportunity, but it's not going to be easy to do, is it? So anyway, that's the situation in the league. In terms of personnel, as I say, we made one sale, we bought nobody in. I felt the squad was big enough to be able to cope with the rigours of what we've got coming up over the next few months. So pretty much everybody's fit other than Cataldi, who is going to be sitting in that replacement role in this particular setup behind Milinkovic-Savic now. He's going to be filling that role if need be. So he's out for a little while. What's his injury? He's out for 7 weeks. He's picked up a pretty bad knock, unfortunately. Most other people are fit. We've got a little bit with Marasic that's just coming back from a knock. And there have been a few that have been out over the last few weeks. It's been quite disrupted by injuries. At one point, there was a couple of games ago, where we had 5 players out of this squad that weren't available to go on the bench, I think. So, yeah, it's been a bit disrupted, but we're getting back to full fitness. So it means that today we've got pretty much everybody fit and available. The only other thing to tell you is that the end of season awards that happened fairly recently, I can't remember when they were announced, but Strakosha won the Goalkeeper of the Year award, which is incredible, above the 2 Barcelona keepers in 2nd and 3rd place. So they're obviously rotating there. But Strakosha has done really, really well for us. It's bizarre, isn't it, with goalkeepers, because the 2 Barcelona goalkeepers have got very high average ratings, and Strakosha hasn't really, 6.86. But in the 27 games that he's played for us this season in the Euro Cup and the Italian Serie A, he's only conceded 8 goals, which is magnificent. 19 clean sheets out of those 27 games. So he's performed really, really well. So why is his rating so low? It's just one of those vagaries of Football Manager, I think, which is unfortunate. I've heard the likes of Dr. Benji complaining about it for quite some time. So we'll see whether they address that at all. But we don't have hugely high average ratings in our complete squad, really, which is disappointing considering we're sitting second. But anyway, that's just a bit of a gripe. So today it's Inter Milan. Everybody's mostly fit. You can see where we are in the league. So the team for today is Strakosha in goal, with Bastos and Felipe and Serbi in central defence, with Leva, Milinkovic-Savic and Alberto in central midfield, Lazari on the left, Lulic on the Lazari on the right, Lulic on the left, Correa just supporting Immobile up top, and pretty much everybody else that's healthy and fit on the bench. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So we've just challenged the players to continue from where they left off in the last game against Parma in the cup competition, which we went through, which was really, really positive. So hopefully more of the same from the guys would be great. We're at home today, which is very, very positive for us also. So we have gone in with our controlled possession style of play in our formation, 3 at the back that we're playing, which is working very nicely for us. The 3 options that we've got, a more attacking and a more defensive structure along with the controlled possession, have done very well. We've used all of them at various points along the season, but most of the time we go in with a controlled possession to start the game and see where it takes us. And so far you can see that it's a little bit disappointing, not in the sense of we've had a bit of an empty game highlight wise for the first half, and it's a very empty highlight game for the first half, but we haven't really controlled the possession as much as I would have liked. 41% in that first half is a little bit disappointing, even against the likes of Inter Milan. If we've got the ball, we should be able to move it around, but we haven't been able to so far. And that is the most dull first half in the world. Welcome to Football Manager, everybody. This is the way it works sometimes. So let's see if we can G them up and get them doing something in the second half. Unlucky boys, things haven't gone your way, and then we're going to build them up and tell them that we believe that they've got what it takes, and we're going to tell them that they can make a difference, and we're going to tell this lot that we believe they've got what it takes. And let's just build them up a little bit, send them out into the second half, and immediately show some passion and see if we can find a way to fire them up, and they have been. So let's see if that can translate into a performance. In a little while we might turn into the vertical tiki-taka and see if we can use our attacking structure on them a little bit, just because we're at home and we need to start winning some points at home against the big guys if we can. So 75 minutes in, I'm going to cancel that and then pause the game and go into the tactics. And we are actually going to do that. We are going to take a bit of a gamble, go into the vertical tiki-taka, push ourselves up a little bit, go into the attacking setup, and then we're going to check out who we can replace and see whether we can get some fresh legs on, because it hasn't been particularly inspired. So Lazio will come out, Marisic will come on, Mobley comes out, hasn't got so many goals just recently. Casido comes on, and then we've got one more to make, and so we're going to replace the other wing back, and we're going to bring Lukaku on as well down that left hand side. So those are the changes we've made into the vertical tiki-taka style. Can we see if we can pressure them a little bit, or are we actually going to get all the way through without a highlight? We're not, and it's Lukaku down that left hand side. But it's not our Lukaku, it's Romelu Lukaku, his brother, playing for Inter Milan, of course. And it's Inter Milan have got the ball in their defensive area and playing around nicely. There's our little bit of a pressing game in our attacking formation. Can we make it count though, or are they going to be able to pass through us to get an opportunity? Again, it's Romelu Lukaku on the ball, drops it back into Eriksen. They're playing very, very nicely, controlled, simple passing. And we've got to find a way to get a foot in, but they've got some very good passes of the ball, and the space has opened up for them down the right-hand side, and they get a chance right on the byline to get the cross in, but they wait. Eventually they do, to the top of the penalty area, and there's a really good shot by Christian Eriksen, and it goes sailing past Strakosha in goal, our newly crowned goalkeeper of the year for last year, for 2019, and he powers the ball into the back of the net, and we go 1-0 down. And there's the thing that comes back to bite you on the bum. You go slightly more attacking and they pick you off a little bit. What can we do about it? That's the question. I'm not going to change the vertical tiki-taka. We're just going to say get creative and push them forward again to try and get one opportunity at goal. And it doesn't look like we're going to get it. And again, it's a really, really disappointing highlight free game of Football Manager, and it's so disappointing that we don't have anything to really talk about. I mean, we had 11 shots at goal, they had 9, we had 6 on target, but we didn't see any of them. Obviously they weren't good enough. 41% possession of the play is also not particularly good enough when we're playing control possession, but it looked like they were as well, and they just did it better than us, and that's really disappointing. They outshone us in midfield. Brozovic and Eriksen, both with high average ratings, and Correa got a decent one for us, but everybody else, again, on their average rating, is a little bit disappointing, and it's something that we need to improve. somehow as we move forward. I think sometimes it feels like Football Manager are overly harsh on these average ratings, and they haven't been particularly high this year as far as I can tell. But anyway, that's the way it is. We are going to have to tell them that we were slightly disappointed. I know it was against a difficult side, but we're going to say assertively you weren't good enough today. Just boost their confidence again, because the next game doesn't get any easier, does it? We're into the likes of Zebra. We've got to go and perform against the top team in the division, so we need to boost their confidence and push them into a decent performance. But yeah, who have we got watching our team now? Mourinho spotted, Tottenham boss, looking at our striker Immobile. Well, he can look all he likes, but there's absolutely no reason why I would want to sell him. 13 goals in 27 games is not too bad at all. 29 years old, so in a season or two, maybe we'd think about it. But just at the moment, there's no way that I want to get rid of him. We want to build a side around him for the next season or two, really. So they can look all they like. Unless they put the real money down, they're not going to get him. Anyway, that's it for today, unfortunately. Another slightly disappointing episode, just because lack of highlights and also the loss, which is disappointing leading into the game against Zebra. So, as I say, we'll be playing them in the next game, but next episode we'll be coming back to play our second round, the second leg of our first round Euro Cup game. So come back and join me for that and see how we got on there. I'll update you on what happened in the first leg of the semi-final of the Italian Cup with Milan as well, and we'll check in on the Serie A performances. So thanks for joining me today. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Join my United City community. Click that like button if you haven't. It helps get seen by loads of other people by sharing the video more on the search functions of YouTube. But until next time, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.